Welcome to Emerald Lake. It's me, Raven, again. Alrighty. We're back to fairy tales, and I'm just adjusting some stuff. It looks like tomorrow I'll actually have to skip the origami stream, but I'll still be doing the fairy tale stream tomorrow night. But yes, this is roughly the plan. I've updated this schedule again, and I'll have to update it after tomorrow's stream so that I can make sure that I don't mix it up, because the way that they do, if you want to just cancel or change an individual day's stream, you have to wait till it's the next one to say you're skipping the next one. You can't say 2 out or something like that for that particular day. And anyway, yeah, stressed out. I'm sorry, but I had things. If I want to still be around able to do this, I have to be able to do the other thing too, and that means I had to cancel. But alright, so more fairy tales tonight. Yay! The first one I have prepared is Puddocky. I'm not sure. Funky word. Somebody's name, it seems, but not a very long one. So you can go ahead and drop the redeems in if you're looking to do that redeem as soon as the story is up. And I'll just get into it. Yeah, I knew you were just teasing. But okay. First story. Away we go, right? Oh, come on. Alright. Puddocky, I think I'll go with. Oh, and my little trigger list in front of my face here is not updated, but I'm not messing with it right now. Okay. There we go. There was once upon a time a poor woman who had one little daughter called Parsley. She was so called because she liked eating parsley better than any other food. Indeed, she would hardly eat anything else. Her poor mother hadn't enough money always to be buying parsley for her, but the child was so beautiful that she could refuse her nothing. And so she went every night to the garden of an old witch who lived near and stole great branches of the coveted vegetable in order to satisfy her daughter. This remarkable taste of the fair parsley soon became known, and the theft was discovered. The witch called the girl's mother to her and proposed that she should let her daughter come and live with her, and then she could eat as much parsley as she liked. The mother was quite pleased with this suggestion, and so the beautiful parsley took up her abode with the old witch. One day 3 princes, whom their father had sent abroad to travel, came to town where Parsley lived and perceived the beautiful girl combing and plaiting her long black hair at the window. In one moment they all fell hopelessly in love with her, and longed ardently to have the girl for their wife. But hardly had they with one breath expressed their desire, than, mad with jealousy, they drew their swords and all 3 set upon each other. Okay. The struggle was so violent and the noise was so loud that the old witch heard it, and said at once, "Of course parsley is at the bottom of all this." And when she had conceived herself that this was so, she stepped forward, and full of wrath over the quarrels and feuds Parsley's beauty gave rise to, she cursed the girl and said, "I wish you were an ugly toad, sitting under a bridge at the other end of the world." Ooh. Hardly were the words out of her mouth than Parsley was changed into a toad and vanished from their sight. The princes, now that the cause of their dispute was removed, put up their swords, kissed each other affectionately, and returned to their father. So they're not going to try and find the toad? Okay. The king was growing old and feeble, and wished to yield his scepter and crown in favor of one of his sons. But he couldn't make up his mind which of the three he should appoint as his successor. He determined that fate should decide for him. So he called his 3 children to him and said, "My dear sons, I am growing old, and am weary of reigning, but I can't make up my mind to which of you 3 I should yield my crown, for I love you all equally. At the same time, I would like the best and cleverest of you to rule over my people. I have therefore determined to set you 3 tasks to do, and the one that performs them best shall be my heir." There's a small flaw in his system. What if each of the 3 princes best defeats one task? Like, the math is not mathing, sir. The sons bowed low, and promising to do their best, they started on their journey without further delay. The 2 elder brothers... Oh no, wait. The first thing I shall ask you to do... I skipped this. The next thing I ask you to do is bring me a piece of linen 100 yards long, so fine that it will go through a gold ring. There you go. The 2 elder brothers, they bowed low, they promised their best, and went off. What if they all failed? Does he need to get another son then? If they all fail at all of the things, then I have no idea. Hello. They never have great logic in these. Sorry. That's the problem with this theoretically being a real thing that happened, but then someone else explaining it to someone else after they've had it explained to them, because they weren't the ones in it. It's never like, my dad did this. It was never like, and I'm the 3rd prince that failed all of those things. Oops, sorry. Like, it's never that guy. Halftime already. No, just dealing with realizing, like, I don't need to sleep. It's like I'm just sleepy, and I need to get my body moving probably more so that it doesn't automatically think that it's okay to go to bed. Neurodivergent sleep issue things. But they don't they're not having the one person say it. Maybe the king actually was like, okay, well, I've got these 3 things to do, so we'll start with that. And then because there was a bunch of, or maybe he said there'd be 7 tasks or whatever, or 10, and then they all were like not succeeding, so he's like, oh, well then, the 3 was enough, because that one guy is the only one that did anything. I guess that'll do. Like, it could have been other reasons, but the 2 elder brothers, yeah, they took many servants and carriages with them. The fact that we're starting with the 2 elder brothers as one unit, I'm gonna call it the youngest son wins it. You just know. The 2 eldest brothers took many servants and carriages with them, but the youngest set out quite alone. In a short time they came to cross 3 roads. 2 of them were gay and crowded, but the 3rd was dark and lonely. The 2 elder brothers chose the more frequented ways, but the youngest, bidding them farewell, set out on the dreary road. Wherever linen was to be bought, there the 2 elder brothers hastened. They loaded their carriages with bales of the finest linen they could find, and then returned home. The youngest brother, on the other hand, went on his weary way for many days, and nowhere did he come across any linen that would have done. So he journeyed on, and his spirits sank with every step. At last he came to a bridge which stretched over a deep river flowing through a flat and marshy land. Before crossing the bridge, he sat down on the banks of the stream and sighed dismally over his sad fate. Suddenly a misshapen toad crawled out of the swamp, and sitting down opposite him asked, "What's the matter with you, my dear prince?" The prince answered impatiently, "There's not much good my telling you, Puddocky, for you couldn't help me if I did." I guess Puddocky is supposed to be a term for a toad, maybe. "Don't be so sure of that," replied the toad. "Tell me your trouble, and we'll see." Then the prince became most confidential and told the little creature why he had been sent out of his father's kingdom. "Prince, I will certainly help you," said the toad, and crawling back into her swamp, she returned, dragging after her a piece of linen not bigger than a finger, which she laid down before the prince, saying, "Take this home, and you'll see it will help you." The prince had no wish to take such an insignificant bundle with him, but he didn't like to hurt Puddocky's feelings by refusing it, so he took up the little packet, put it in his pocket, and bade the little toad farewell. Puddocky watched the prince till he was out of sight, and then crept back into the river. The further the prince went, the more he noticed that the pocket in which the little roll of linen lay became heavier, and in proportion his heart grew lighter. Okay, and so greatly comforted, he returned to the court of his father and arrived home just at the same time as his brothers with their caravans. The king was delighted to see them all again. Oh, and this is another thing. The brothers didn't need to collect all the linen. They just needed to get one linen, and then if they found one better than the one they had, they could trade it out. And both of them would do that because they each have to have it. But, you don't need to have all the linen. It doesn't work. You don't need all of it. Anyway, their turn. The king was delighted to see them all again, and at once drew the ring from his finger. I apologize. Okay. Drew the ring from his finger. The trial began. In all the wagon loads there was not one piece of linen, the 10th part of which could go through the ring. And the two elder brothers, who had at first sneered at their youngest brother for returning with no baggage, began to feel rather small. But what were their feelings when he drew a bale of linen out of his pocket, which in fineness, softness, and purity of color was unsurpassable? The threads were hardly visible, and if it went through the ring without the smallest difficulty, at the same time measuring 100 yards quite correctly. The father embraced his fortunate son and commanded the rest of the linen be thrown into the water. "Why you gotta waste things?" Then turning to his children, he said, "Now, dear princes, prepare yourselves for the second task. You must bring me back a little dog that will go comfortably into a walnut shell." So we have totally read this. I thought that this is something that definitely has an alternate name and stuff. I just don't think that it was a frog last time. But the challenges are definitely the same. I remember a walnut dog for sure. The walnut dog is definitely familiar. That's not something that you hear a lot. But if I had a nickel for every time I read that dog had to fit into a walnut, I'd only have 2 nickels. Still. The sons were all in despair over this demand, but as they each wished to win the crown, they determined to do their best. And after a very few days, set out on their travels again. At the crossroads they separated once more. The youngest went by himself along his lonely way, but this time he felt much more cheerful. Hardly had he sat down under the bridge and heaved a sigh, than Puddocky came out, and sitting down opposite him, asked, "What's wrong with you now, dear prince?" You'd think he'd know to go straight back to the toad. Intentionally. Anyway. The prince, who this time never doubted the little toad's power to help him, told her his difficulty at once. "Prince, I will help you," said the toad again, and crawled back into her swamp as fast as her short little legs could carry her. She returned, dragging a hazelnut behind her, which she said the prince which she laid at the prince's feet, and said, "Take this nut home with you, and tell your father to crack it very carefully, and you'll see then what will happen." That's the wrong kind of nut. It's supposed to be a walnut. Sorry. The prince thanked her heartily and went on his way in the best of spirits, while the little Puddock crept slowly back into the river. Puddock must mean toad. I'm checking it out. Yeah, it's Scot for a frog or toad. This is a Scottish story. Confirmation. She goes back into the water, right? When the prince got home, he found his brothers had just arrived with a great wagon loads of little dogs of all sorts. Don't tell me we're going to throw them in the water. Oh my god, I did. They're so evil. Brace yourselves. It's a throwaway sentence to this story, but it's sad. Okay. The king had a walnut shell ready, and the trial began. But not one of the dogs the two eldest sons had brought with them would in the least fit into the shell. When they had tried all their little dogs, the youngest son handed his father the hazelnut with a modest bow and begged him to crack it carefully. Be very unfortunate if he hit it with a hammer and just shattered. Hardly had the old king done so than a lovely tiny dog sprang out of the nutshell and ran about on the king's hand, wagging its tail and barking lustily at all the other little dogs. I wonder how big the other little dogs were. Were they like, this little dog fits literally in a teacup. This little dog fits in, were they close, or were they just humanly small dogs? Like reasonably small dogs. Anyway. The joy of the court was great. The father again embraced his fortunate son, commanded the rest of the small dogs to be thrown into the water and drowned, and once more addressed his sons. The two most... See, already it's just... Oh, no, we don't care. I care. Don't do that. The two most difficult tasks have been performed. Now listen to the third and last. Whoever brings the fairest wife home with him shall be my heir. So you're telling me the first two tasks were irrelevant, and it was really only who brings back the best wife? Because if so, what the fuck? Anyway. This demand seemed so easy and agreeable that the reward was so great that the princes lost no time in setting forth on their travels. At the crossroads, the two elder brothers debated if they should go the same way as the youngest. "Hello, Natsu. I'm doing well. How are you doing?" They're debating if they should go the same way as the youngest, but when they saw how dreary and deserted it looked, they made up their minds that it would be impossible to find what they sought in these wilds, and so they stuck to their former paths. I'm glad. That's good. The youngest was very depressed this time, and said to himself, "Anything else Puddocky could have helped me in, but this task is quite beyond her power. How could she ever find a beautiful wife for me? She found you a dog that fits in a hazelnut. Even better, was alive inside the hazelnut. It had no air. How did it do that? Her swamps are wide and empty, and no human beings dwell there, only frogs and toads and other creatures of that sort." However, he sat down as usual under the bridge, and this time he sighed from the bottom of his heart. In a few minutes the toad stood in front of him and asked, "What's the matter with you now, my dear prince?" "Oh, Puddocky, this time you can't help me, for the task is beyond even your power," replied the prince. "You don't even know how this toad has power. How would you know? You really don't." "Still," answered the toad, "you may as well tell me your difficulty, for who knows, but I mayn't be able to help you this time also." The prince then told her the task they had been set to do. "I'll help you right enough, my dear prince," said the little toad. "Just you go home, and I'll soon follow you." With these words, Puddocky, with a spring quite unlike her usual slow movements, jumped into the water and disappeared. Ooh. Shunnakin, how do you do that with your name? That looks so cool. Ooh. Okay, but welcome. Thank you for the follow. Okay, Toad went into the water. The prince rose up and went sadly on his way, for he didn't believe it possible that the little Toad could really help him in his present difficulty. He had hardly gone a few steps when he heard a sound behind him, and looking around he saw a carriage made of cardboard, drawn by 6 big rats coming towards him. Hey! Well, oh, okay, that makes sense, but cool. I am. How are you doing? Okay, so the carriage with the rats drawing it, coming towards him. 2 hedgehogs rode in front as outriders, and on the box sat a fat mouse as a coachman. And behind stood 2 little frogs as footmen. This sounds like a little Vi and my own crossover, little rat and toad carriage. A fat mouse. It would be better if the fat mouse was the fat rabbit. Big old chungus. Okay. In the carriage itself sat Puddocky, who kissed her hand to the prince out of the window as he passed by. Okay. Sunk deep in thought over the fickleness of fortune that had granted him 2 of his wishes and now seemed about to deny him the last and best, the prince hardly noticed the absurd equipage. How would you not notice that? That is very noticeable. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Olivia 2D. Olivia Live 2D. That her. she did it with some help. I did the coloring, but then I got her to get the antlers, so it was fun. Okay, so he didn't notice it, or barely noticed it, and still less did he feel inclined to laugh at its comic appearance. He's too sad. He has no faith in this magic nonsense. Oh well. The carriage drove on in front of him for some time, and then turned a corner. But what was his joy and surprise when suddenly round the same corner, but coming towards him, there appeared a beautiful coach drawn by 6 splendid horses, with outriders, coachmen, footmen, and other servants, all in the most gorgeous liveries, and seated in the carriage was the most beautiful woman the prince had ever seen, and in whom he at once recognized the beautiful Parsley, for whom his heart had formerly burned. The carriage stopped when it reached him, and the footman sprang down and opened the door for him. That's the frog, dudes. He got in and sat down beside the beautiful Parsley and thanked her heartily for her help. Was he riding a horse, though? Is the horse looked after? Anyway. And thanked her heartily for her help and told her how much he loved her. You'd never spoken to her, but okay. Oh, nice. I like solitaire. It's a nice choice. And so he arrived at his father's capital at the same moment as his brothers, who had returned with many carriage loads of beautiful women. Please tell me they don't go in the water. No, oh my gosh, they do. I liked the frog bit, but otherwise the story is awful. No. Bad. No. Okay. Carriage loads of beautiful women. 'Cause they're just objects. It's fine. Fucking hell. But when they were all led before the king, the whole court, with one consent, awarded the prize of beauty to the fair Parsley. 'Cause that's all women are for. Yay. The old king was delighted and embraced his thrice fortunate son and his new daughter-in-law tenderly. And did she ever see her family again? nothing says that they were actively like engaged with them. Like, I don't know about that. I think they were just treating them as objects, not even particularly sexually. Just, you're just things that I have to show my dad, and if you're good enough in the one thing that anyone ever cares about, yeah, you get to be my queen. Cool. Otherwise, get the fuck out and go drown in a river, I guess. Okay, so he appointed them as his successors to the throne, but he commanded the other women to be thrown into the water and drowned, like the bales of linen and the little dogs, 'cause the king's an ass. The prince married Puddocky and reigned long and happily with her, probably while wondering about, the other brothers who nearly killed him over her. No, we're not worried that they're gonna try and take her at any point. No, okay. They do definitely see women as objects. I'm just suggesting. Okay. And if they aren't dead, I suppose they are living still, because that's how that works. I mean, if they aren't dead, they are living, but wow. Hello, Kai, to the World 17. Welcome in. Just finishing a story. Had some cute moments. Thoroughly drenched in misogyny there. Well, oh well. I'm gonna move on to the redeems. And they all lived happily ever after, except the ones who didn't live. Yeah, there you go. I'll just start collecting the things that people have asked. Ah, Kai, so this is 18 plus. I mean, yeah, so this is a rule I have, and I need to stick to my rules. I'm sorry. I want to keep people. It is a wholesome-ish time, but I also do go into so much. Sorry. We did already get rid of somebody for that, but probably, oh, wow, come back in a year. Gone. But, maybe less than a year? Maybe they'll come back eventually? I don't know. I feel bad. Oh well. Not much I can do about them aging. Oh, yes. Okay, that's all I needed to grab. Okay. Keys. It's keys time. No, don't do that. There you go. Alrighty, keys. Twickies. Yeah, the interesting thing with the the interesting thing with the 18 plus is I will be getting into, and I do touch on things that can be like kind of just edging into really should be 18 plus. I could almost do not, knowing that Twitch is 13 plus to be on, but like I want to try and not make a issue if a younger person interrupts something that is the one thing that we are getting into 18 plus. Whereas if I put 18 plus, it almost implies there's like it becomes an expectation that maybe I'm going to definitely do things that will be 18 plus, and that's the explanation I had without that Twitch technicality things. So like I don't want people to have the assumption that I'm going to be doing like spicy things all the time just because I have 18 plus in there, because we are very wholesome, cozy, really. So I don't want to give the misunderstanding. Ooh, Cage is popping in with 4 people. Thank you for this raid. Hi, little raid. Hello. Hi, Cage. But yeah, I wouldn't want to put that sticker there and misguide people. Hi, Cage. It's interesting. I feel bad because someone like, oh, thank you for hydrate. I will do that. Someone that's like at the edge there is 17. It's not that far off, but it's the rule, and I gotta follow the rules. So there you go. Yeah. Hey, Rad Bear. Hi. Did you know that you were gifted a sub to this channel from Cage? It was very nice of Cage. No worries that you had to leave. It's all good. But now you were rated in. Haha. Snowfish. Hi, Snowfish. Welcome. I'm just about to start humming, but we were chatting about things. You were worth it, Red Bear. Yes. Oh, it's such friends. Oh, friends. Okay. Hummings. Thank you for the follow there, Snowfish. Thank you. I was just gonna swap songs, but Natsu, okay. I'm glad that your neighbor, she's like in a place where she can feel safe after the toxic person that shows up, so that like she's a safer spot. I like that. But did she? No, you did tell her how you felt, right? So she's aware of that. Okay. 'Cause like the moving in when you want to be together, of course, try and be careful about that. It's a twisty time. I would never want someone to unintentionally feel like they had to do the relationship thing because of friend and then toxic space. I don't think that would be it, but my personal thing is I'm always like worried that people think that I'm doing that I'm guilting you into something. Ugh. I'm really glad that she's out of a toxic place, or like further away from the toxic person. I'm really glad about that. Ugh. Okay. Um. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't worry, I'll be here. Yeah, exactly. That's good. And oh, I'm glad that makes things a lot less scary. All right. Da, da. I went very low. I can't keep it up. Ah, good, like practice, but I can't keep it up. Ah, thank you. But you never have to apologize for leaving. Don't worry about it. But yes, feel free to cuddle in and thank you for the compliment. Yes, thank you. Okay. Oh, go dad. Heck yes. Dad energies. Yeah. At least now she won't be alone, like living alone or something, is what I kind of assumed. But so more space. Yeah. Then go make some origami. I'm sorry it's not a hand cam right now. Don't worry about it. Do I have a favorite animal? My name is Raven. I do like ravens. I'm a deer woman. Deers are cool. My emotes are frogs. Frogs. Frogs are pretty neat. Um, I like a lot of animals. He. I don't like having to pick favorites because then my brain just like empties and I'm like, wait, what? And then I feel bad. I can't say one or the other. And then, oh, the connotations of, oh, you're a that animal person. Those people. No, I like them all. Stop. Just today, I sent a very cute video of a snake in someone's sleeve. From their sleeve. They're like, oh, what? No, a snake. And I told you that I like the idea of having a pet bear. Having a pet bear would be freaking nuts. I mean, it's very dangerous and it would never do. But, you know. Yeah. Oh, I made a raven already, so maybe make it for the frog. The frogs are fun. Do you have the leapfrog frog origami thing where you can it's the fold where you can ping down his little tail and he will jump? It's cute. You're one of those people that doesn't have a family. You little rat, tetra. Oh, I know how to make them. Ah! I need to find those again. The Cage drop the Discord. Might as well send. If you have the pattern, if you have the instructions, can you send it in the Discord? Because I had that at one point and I lost it. I love those little frogs, and people did want to see frogs, so I should have the frog pattern. Okay. Anyway, oh my gosh. I usually do 3 songs. I have not done a 3rd song yet for my humming. I'm getting distracted. No. Natsu, you're kidding. No. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry. The dream. Okay, sorry. Yes. Hey, thank you for the follow, Razulon. Ah, no, that's no fair, Twitch. You didn't do me dirty like that. It was at 368 followers, and then I got Razulon, and then it was 370, so I never got to see 369. That's not fair. I always say something when we're at 369 or 269 or 169 or 6. I always make a bed. That's not fair, Twitch. That's not fair. Very rude. But okay, I'm prepping some bubble wrap right now because I have a bunch of bubble wrap papers. Sheets, right? They're not paper. Unfollow. Twitch ruined the 69. Twitch ruined the 69. It's not cool. Definitely don't unfollow. We'll just have to go all the way to 469, sorry, so that we see it again. We'll keep going. Fetster, wait, you are heckin' mad here. Yes, Fetster's everywhere. A lot of friendly faces here, huh? Yeah. It's almost like it's a kind of niche community. That's right. Okay, I've unfolded my paper. My sheet. It's not paper. And I think I will cut it into smaller pieces so that I will cut it into smaller pieces so that I will not have to lose my spot of where there is actual usable bubbles or not. The unfortunate bit is that when you cut them, if you cut in the middle of a bubble, it ruins the pop and stuff. I don't like to do that, but I'm going to because I need to. Okay. Oh yes. The bear friend. She lives a couple miles away from Moscow, and I wouldn't touch her. She's very territorial. Surprisingly, she's fine with me, though. But there you go. My friend is very territorial. Don't touch her. That works, too. I have a couple of those friends. Trust me. Card dealing next. Okay. After the card dealing, I'm going to say no more redeems till the next story is done. You can ask for them, but I won't do them. Oh, well, those three I'll do. Yeah. Okay. Wah! Bubble wrapping time. Here we go. Yes. Oh, I don't know if they're still here. No. Okay, here's... Oh, no, wait, I have to do the thing. Where's the thing? You see a bear spinning, you best be getting... sipping. Okay, I'll hydrate. Don't hurt me, bear. Okay. I'll take a sippy now. Everybody hydrate. Okay. And I am sat the way I want to sit, and I will stretch after more redeems. Okay. Oh my gosh. No, not bubble warp. What the heck? Come on. There we go. Aww. That's very cute. He do. Alright. That's what happens if you touch the bear when you shouldn't? Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Bubble wraps. I had to interrupt for that. Sorry. Oh, but it's just a perfect number. Lifelike, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for that. Oh my gosh. Okay, more bubbles. More bubbles. Bubble, bubble. Ooh. Ooh, bubbles. That was the last bubble. Okay. Nice bubble wrap for another use. Just me, 824. Hello, welcome. What was next is, oh goodness, card stealing. Alright. And we need to collect those. They were farther away. Oh, I might as well stretch now. Okay. Rose. Okay, hello, Rose. I will very likely forget that you are Rose just because it says that you are just me. But I understand that feeling because I am Raven, even though I am called on here Obsidian. Here we go. Alright. Moving on to card dealing for Bony Shark. Get that done. Yes, cards. Here we go. Yes, please do that. Oh, Rose, I'm good, but I usually shut up in between my ASMR triggers, so I'll be quiet. Oh, I was mindlessly fixing a sticker, so I'm about to cry for a minute. I apologize. I'm not actually crying. Oh, thank you for the follow, Mestian. Thank you. Alright, right. Okay. Hi, Stephen. Thank you for the follow, Heiku the Traveler. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm hitting my mic a lot. I apologize. Focus. Okay. Hey, Angus, hi. Ooh, tippy taps. Okay, so here's the thing. No, we were just doing the card dealing sound. Moving the mic around the frickin'. Okay. Whoa. Okay. So, alrighty. Yeah, Cage came and raided in, thankfully. Very nice of them. So I'm going to move on to the next story. Oh, an anonymous gifter just sub to just me, to Rose. Thank you for that, gifter. You may be anonymous, but we still have a rule. When someone be giftin', what we do is... Well, I can't find him. Okay, there he is. We dropped the money frogs. It was a gift. You must be celebrated. Okay. Hey, Cage, you get your own money frogs. Look at this. The beginnings of a hype train. Oh no. Do-do-do-do-do. That was distinctly different from other musical things. That was not the copyrighted thing. The last note was different. Sorry. Yay! Thank you for those gifts. Everybody do the money frogs. Every dance. Shinnikin, the dancer is great, but the move is if somebody gifts, we do the money, raining money thing. It's just what we tend to do as a celebration. You don't have to, because you were the one that was gifted it. But that is your initiation. You gotta use them frogs. The dancers are great though, Angus. I love that little raven. Like raving. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Hey! Anonymous gifter gifted to Ignis, you're gonna have to drop some frogs now. There you go. We gotta drop some frogs. Money. And Rose, you got those little rats from Violet Spellcraft. Yay. The frogs and the rats are friends. So they cuz me and Vi are friends. So you can go ahead and assume that the rat toss and such is also acceptable. But way back there was stuffs. Oh my gosh. It was a hello to people that had just come in while I was doing my dealing. I said thank you to that follow. Oh yes, I'll do humming in a bit. Rad Bear has gone on his word. Yes, I will take that little frog and I'll be making it the next time we do origami. But now I'm not doing origami tomorrow, so it's going to be a while since I do it on stream. But I'll do it for myself so that I remember how you got to do that, because it's been a while. The tappy taps on something wood. Heckin' yes, we'll do that. We're just going to do a story first, and now I'm catching back up to where we were. All of the money frogs. I have a rule. I see a friendly streamer face come into one of my regular streams. If I can afford, I gift. Very, very nice, Cage. Thank you. This is your official initiation. Yeah, the money frogs. The money frogs get dropped. We did the money frog drop when you were away, Rad Bear. So yes, there's your initiation. So then, yeah, we did. We made it rain. Oh wow! I'm just gonna do all the rain and frogs. Okay. Oh, I love that you guys are getting into it. It's so fun. It's so fun. Alright, so we're gonna move on to the next story. I'll do that. And what was the next story again? I think it was a long title. Yeah, it is a long title. Yeah. I'm going to do this if it will allow me. Oh goodness. Alright. There we go. Haha! I've sorted it. It will be set. Frog swarm. Yes. It is worth a lot of thank you, everyone. It is. It's fun. And look at those. Yes, you get the wow rainbow. Wow. Alright. Yes. Okay. So I'll do the next redeems after this story. It's not a long one. You won't have to wait long. If it was a long one, I'd make sure I take a break so that you get your redeems soon. But here we go. Rainbow frog. Rainbow. There we go. I'm glad. So, like the first few I made myself on Canva, I just changed up the colors because they were cute, but I was like, no, I need to make this weirder, just a tad weird. So all of the things that were pink are now purple, so they're blushing and their tongue and their love is all purple. And that is the difference. That is the Frog TM. I should write it out. Frog. I don't know how to make the little TM circle, but it's that. Sleepiest sheepy. Hello. Nah, sorry. But that's the Frog. So that's him. And then concerned Frog. So that's how you know it's my Frog instead of someone else. And I like them a lot. And I need to make more. But we be busy, so yeah. Hey, you just gave everyone a hug. That's a proper bear frog. Prince Frog. But okay, I'm going to move on to this story. And then we'll do the next redeems. Hummin' and tappies. Alright, here we go. The Story of Hok Lee and the Dwarfs. Mildly nervous because this is supposedly in the European story. I don't know how they're going to have sanitized this story or made it awful. So if you've ever heard of this story because you have connections to Chinese folklore, then yeah. I'm sorry if this goes wrong. But I also am sorry whenever I mispronounce things, but I think I'm good. Here we go. I hope they aren't too awful. My goodness. Okay. There once lived in a small town in China a man named Hok Lee. He was a steady, industrious man who not only worked hard at his trade, but did all his own housework as well, for he had no wife to do it for him. What an excellent, industrious man is this Hok Lee, said his neighbors. How hard he works. He never leaves his house to amuse himself or to take a holiday as others do. But Hok Lee was by no means the virtuous person his neighbors thought him. True, he worked hard enough by day, but at night, when all respectable folk were fast asleep, he used to steal out and join a dangerous band of robbers who broke into rich people's houses and carried off all they could lay hands on. Ooh, okay. This state of things went on for some time, and though a thief was caught now and then and punished, no suspicion ever fell on Hok Lee. He was such a very respectable, hard-working man. It couldn't be me. People like me. Hok Lee had already amassed a good store of money as his share of the proceeds of some of the robberies, when it happened one morning on going to market that a neighbor said to him, "Why, Hok Lee, what is the matter with your face? One side of it is all swelled up." True enough, Hok Lee's right cheek was twice the size of his left, and it soon began to feel very uncomfortable. "I will bind up my face," said Hok Lee. "Doubtless the warmth will cure the swelling." No. But no such thing. Yeah. Next day it was worse, and day by day it grew bigger and bigger till it was nearly as large as his head and became very painful. Uh-oh. What's wrong with your face? It is an interesting way to start a conversation, but okay. Sounds very small child coded. Oh no. Well, thank you for the follow. Welcome, Ronan. It is 4, right? Okay. Oh my gosh, sorry. The world's biggest it. I don't think it is. I think he's just like a cartoon bump on the head, but it came out of his cheek or something. I don't know. This is reminding me of the picture of Dorian Gray already. Oh boy. It was worse. It grew bigger and bigger, nearly as large as his head, just his cheek, and it just deflated like a tire. and his head became very painful. Hok Lee was at his wits' end what to do. Not only was his cheek unsightly and painful, but his neighbors began to jeer and make fun of him, which hurt his feelings very much indeed. One day, as luck would have it, a traveling doctor came to the town. He sold not only all kinds of medicine, but also dealt in many strange charms against witches and evil spirits. It is truly nice to have you here, friend. You're such a comfy presence. Yes, radiation bears so severely positive, so sunshiny. It's almost too much to look at. Oh my gosh, you're blinding me. It's a very bright and comfy presence. It's very good. I appreciate you too. I barely met you, but yes. Okay, so the doctor can get rid of spirits too. Hok Lee determined to consult him and asked him into his house, which is a good idea. Because it's not, I mean, the way this is going, it's probably because he stole something he shouldn't have. After the doctor had examined him carefully, he spoke thus. This, O Hok Lee, is no ordinary swelled face. I strongly suspect you have been doing some wrong deed, which has called down the anger of the spirits on you. None of my drugs will avail to cure you, but if you are willing to pay me handsomely, I can tell you how you may be cured. Then Hok Lee and the doctor began to bargain together, and it was a long time before they could come to terms. However, the doctor got the better of it in the end, for he was determined not to part with his secret under a certain price, and Hok Lee had no mind to carry his huge cheek about him to the end of his days. So he was obliged to part with the greater portion of his ill-gotten gains. Doctor pulls out a knife. I also specialize in freestyle acupuncture. Freestyle acupuncture. This is the thing. I would have guessed, it's an old story, supposedly in China. Did no one suggest acupuncture? Oh, well. Oh, guys, thank you. Yeah. Aw. It's okay to cry. Crying's not bad, but don't be sad about it, I hope. Okay, yes. When the doctor had pocketed the money, he told Hok Lee to go on the first night of the full moon to a certain wood, and there to watch by a particular tree. After a time, he would see the dwarfs and little sprites who live underground come out to dance. When they saw him, they would be sure to make him dance too. And mind you, dance your very best, added the doctor. They are happy. Good. And thank you for hugging. Dance your very best, added the doctor. If you dance well and please them, they will grant you a petition, and you can then beg to be cured. But if you dance badly, they will most likely do you some mischief out of spite. With that he took leave and departed. Well, can our dude dance or not? Happily, the first night of the full moon was near, and at the proper time Hok Lee set out for the wood. With a little trouble, he found the tree the doctor had described, and feeling nervous, he climbed up into it. He had hardly settled himself on a branch when he saw the little dwarfs assembling in the moonlight. They came from all sides, till at length there appeared to be hundreds of them. They seemed in high glee, and danced and skipped and capered about, whilst Hok Lee grew so eager watching them that he crept further and further along his branch till at length it gave a loud crack. Yep. All the dwarfs stood still, and Hok Lee felt as if his heart stood still also. Then one of the dwarfs called out, "Someone is up in that tree. Come down at once, whoever you are, or we must come and fetch you." In great terror, Hok Lee proceeded to come down, but he was so nervous that he tripped near the ground and came rolling down in the most absurd manner. Sorry. I need just a second. I'm going to do a big cough while muted. Okay, better. So he tripped and came down in a most absurd manner. When he had picked himself up, he came forward with a low bow, and the dwarf who had first spoken and who appeared to be the leader said, "Now then, who art thou, and what brings thee here?" So Hok Lee told him the sad story of his swelled cheek, and how he had been advised to come to the forest and beg the dwarfs to cure him. "It is well," replied the dwarf. "We will see about that. First, however, thou must dance before us. Should thy dancing please us, perhaps we may be able to do something. But shouldst thou dance badly, we shall assuredly punish thee. So now take warning and dance away." With that, he and all the other dwarfs sat down in a large ring, leaving Hok Lee to dance alone in the middle. He felt half frightened to death, and besides was a good deal shaken by his fall from the tree. Did not feel at all inclined to dance. But the dwarfs were not to be trifled with. Dun, dun, dun. "Begin," cried their leader, and "Begin," shouted the rest in chorus. So in despair Hok Lee began. First he hopped on one foot and then on the other, but he was so stiff and so nervous that he made but a poor attempt, and after a time sank down on the ground and vowed he could dance no more. Oh no. The dwarfs were very angry. They crowded round Hok Lee and abused him. "Okay, thou to come here to be cured indeed," they cried. "Thou hast brought one big cheek with thee, but thou shalt take away two." And with that they ran off and disappeared, leaving Hok Lee to find his way home as best he might. Well then, okie doke. He hobbled away, weary and depressed, and not a little anxious on account of the dwarf's threat. Nor were his fears unfounded, for when he rose next morning, his left cheek was swelled up as big as his right, and he could hardly see out of his eyes. Oh, I don't like the way this is going. Hok Lee felt in despair, and his neighbors jeered at him more than ever. The doctor, too, had disappeared, so there was nothing for it but to try the dwarfs once more. He waited a month till the first night of the full moon came round again, and then he trudged back to the forest and sat down under the tree from which he had fallen. He had not long to wait. Ere long the dwarfs came trooping out till all were assembled. "I don't feel quite easy," said one. "I feel as if some horrid human being were near us." When Hok Lee heard this, he came forward and bent down to the ground before the dwarfs, who came crowding round, and laughed heartily at his comical appearance with his two big cheeks. "What dost thou want?" they asked, and Hok Lee proceeded to tell him of his fresh misfortunes, and begged so hard to be allowed one more trial at dancing that the dwarfs consented, for there is nothing they love so much as being amused. Now Hok Lee knew how much depended on his dancing well, so he plucked up a good spirit and began. First quite slowly and faster by degrees, and he danced so well and gracefully, and he made such new and wonderful steps, that the dwarfs were quite delighted with him. "Okay, that's nice. Yeah, oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It feels cozy." They clapped their tiny hands and shouted, "Well done, Hok Lee, well done. Go on, dance more, for we are pleased." And Hok Lee danced on till he really could dance no more, and he was obliged to stop. Then the leader of the dwarfs said, "We are well pleased, Hok Lee, and as a recompense for thy dancing, thy face shall be cured. Farewell." With these words he and the other dwarfs vanished, and Hok Lee, putting his hands to his face, found to his great joy that his cheeks were reduced to their natural size. The way home seemed short and easy to him. Well, now you can see again. And he went to bed happy, and resolved never to go out robbing again. Next day the whole town was full of news of Hok's sudden cure. His neighbors questioned him, but could get nothing from him except the fact that he had discovered a wonderful cure for all kinds of diseases. After a time, a rich neighbor who had been ill for some years came and offered to give Hok Lee a large sum of money he would tell him how he might get cured. Hok Lee consented on condition that he swore to keep the secret. He did so, and Hok Lee told him of the dwarfs and their dances. The neighbor went off, carefully obeyed Hok Lee's directions, and was duly cured by the dwarfs. Then another and another came to Hok Lee to beg his secret, and from each he extracted a vow of secrecy and a large sum of money. This went on for some years, so that at length Hok Lee became a very rich, wealthy man, and ended his days in peace and prosperity. Well, all right, I thought this was going to end worse than it did. All right, he was cured. Yay! The end. Alrighty. We have humming and tappy taps and page flippings. Yes. What would I? I think I know what I will do. Okay. But yes, there are some old stories that end very unfortunately. This one went well. Okay. We'll go back to humming, I guess. I have not read Vasilisa the Beautiful. I've written it down now. We will see if it comes up when we get around. The site that I've been reading from, they have a lot of different stuff. Baba Yaga. Yes. Oh, Mike, cooperate. Yeah. Okay. I should move on to the next one. I haven't read that one yet. Yeah. Okay. Okay, here's the tappy taps. Try out a different wood. This is a singing frog. And that is tappy taps and the woods. Hope those are okay. And I'll grab my books for the page flippins. Alright, Mm. We start with the little book. a small book. Hey, I'm happy to read the Wendigo story. Alright, big book. And that was Big Book. I see we like the cryptids and the folklores of other stuffs. I will say, Natsu, you say that the Russian horror is second best only behind Japan horror, but you're the one that said at least it's not Wendigo. Indigenous American horror can top that too, bruh. I think that it's pretty good. I don't know. But alright, yeah, I like that everybody likes a lot of this spooky stuff. We should get around to more of that. The trouble I found is finding fully written out story forms of these cryptids as opposed to just like collection things. I haven't been able to find like stories that are accessible as easily. But alright, that was the page flipping. Whoop. Readjust myself. Settle in. Alright. So the next story I had on the list, I can't remember if this is exactly the same as we had. You know what? I'll scroll back and see. Because this is the story of the three bears. And I thought that we had the story of Goldilocks and the bears instead of story of the three bears. bears, and so I thought it would be fair to read this one. But maybe the Goldilocks and the Bears is also just the exact same text. I don't know. Bear story. Heck yes, perfect for you. I can't seem to find it, so I don't think we did. Take everyone gather around. Goldilocks and the Bears, and then later the story of Pretty Goldilocks. So we've had Goldilocks stories, but now we've got the exact same one. There may be slightly different text, but it has a different title, so I'm gonna go with it. We're gonna do it. I will hydrate first, as I've been instructed to. I already reset myself after those ASMR, and I'll stretch real quick. Okay. Aha! Right. Okay. Alrighty, that's gonna be visible. Okay, here we go. Opte, here we go. It is the story of the three bears, and I am quite. Oh no, actually, I don't think we've referred to the little bear as the wee bear, and this one has definitely been referred to as the wee bear. So this is looking like a cutesy little version of the story. Classic version that we've probably seen as children, if you know the story. Alright. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. One of them was a little, small, wee bear, and one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great, huge bear. They had each a pot for their porridge, a little pot for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized pot for the middle bear, and a great pot for the great, huge bear. Which one are you, radiation bear? Are you little, mid, huge? And they had each a chair to sit in. A little chair for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized chair for the middle bear, and a great chair for the great, huge bear. And they had each a bed to sleep in. A little bed for the little, small, wee bear, and a middle-sized bed for the middle bear, and a great bed for the great, huge bear. Good to hear it, radiation bear. Great big bear. So you can hug everyone at once. One day after they had made the porridge for their breakfast and poured it into their porridge pots, they walked out into the wood while the porridge was cooling, that they might not burn their mouths by beginning too soon to eat it. And while they were walking, a little old woman came to the house. She could not have been a good, honest old woman, for first she looked in at the window, and then she peeped in at the keyhole, and seeing nobody in the house, she lifted the latch. Ooh, I think this is the first time that Goldilocks is not in fact Goldilocks. Sounds like instead she's an old woman, sorry. I've hunted and eaten bear. It's quite tasty if cooked. Right, probably. Not in front of Red Bear. Hey, we talked about eating deer in front of me. I guess we do gotta protect little Rad Bear a little bit more, but okay. Oh, welcome. Thank you for the follow, Enrique59 there. Hey, we all gotta eat. The bear's gonna eat other animals too. It is what it is. Okay, so the old woman has lifted the latch. Don't worry, you're safe for now. The door was not fastened because the bears were good bears who did nobody any harm and never suspected that anyone would hurt them. So the little old woman opened the door and went in, and well pleased she was when she saw the porridge on the table. If she had been a good little old woman, she would have waited till the bears came home, and then perhaps they would have asked her to breakfast, for they were good bears. A little rough or so, but as the manner of bears is, but for all that very good-natured and hospitable. But she was an impudent, bad old woman, and set about helping herself. Dad jokes. Hey, bye. Welcome in. What you doing here? Are you feeling any better? I hope you're feeling a bit better. Where the hickin' was I? They're very good-natured and hospitable, but she was an impudent, bad old woman, and set about helping herself. So first she tasted the porridge of the great, huge bear, and that was too hot for her, and she said a bad word about that. Okay, drop in the comments a censored version, or not censored. What bad word did the old lady say about having too hot of a porridge? I hunt bear, deer, or anything else I can legally shoot. As long as you use as much of that animal as you can, I'm on board. Glad we're all saying hi. Okay. And then she tasted the porridge of the middle bear, and that was too cold for her, and she said a bad word about that too. Oh, pick a new bad word. I slept a bit, now I'm folding laundry, tidying up. Oh, that's good. I don't waste anything. Heckin' yes. Good. Okay, so then it was a cold one. And then she went to the porridge of the little, small, wee bear, and tasted that. And that was neither too hot nor too cold, but just right. And she liked it so well that she ate it all up. But the naughty old woman said a bad word about the little porridge pot, because it did not hold enough for her. So this bad old woman is also cursing left and right. She's winning my heart, I gotta tell you. Sending you all of my sleep karma. May you sleep soundly tonight. Good. Drink tea, vitamin C. Yes, highly recommend vitamin C for when you are sick. I love making knife handles out of deer antlers. Oh, they are so nice. Oh, they're nice. Anyway, it's just like me. Like the old lady is you? Haha. Okay. No, where was I? Oh, yes. Okay. Then the little old woman sate down in the chair of the great huge bear. Misspelling, I guess. Protects ravens' antlers. There are many deer that drop their antlers after a while. You did see me at first without antlers. Now these ones just disappear when I tell them to. So, oh well. You are always safe. Ah, good. Alright, she sate down, typo, in the chair of the great huge bear, and that was too hard for her. And then she sate down in the chair of the middle bear. Oh, I guess it's intentional, misspelling. And that was too soft for her. And then she sate down in the chair of the little, small, wee bear. That was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So she seated herself in it, And there she sate till the bottom of the chair came out, and down came she plump upon the ground, and the naughty old woman said a wicked word about that too. The little old woman is grumpy and curses a lot. Yes, well, we enjoy that. I need fresh ones. They are stronger. Oh, oh! You don't want to use the ones on the ground. All right. She fell down and she said a wicked word about that too. Then the little old woman went upstairs into the bedchamber in which the three bears slept. And first she lay down upon the bed of the great huge bear, but that was too high at the head for her. Next she lay down upon the bed of the little bear, and that was too high at the foot for her. And then she lay down upon the bed of the little small wee bear, and that was neither too high at the head nor at the foot, but just right. So she covered herself up comfortably, and lay there till she fell fast asleep. By this time the three bears thought their porridge would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. Now the little old woman had left the spoon of the great huge bear standing in his porridge.
"Somebody has been at my porridge,"
said the great huge bear in his great gruff voice, in all caps. And when the middle bear looked at his, he saw that the spoon was standing in it too. They were wooden spoons. If they had been silver ones, the naughty old woman would have put them in her pocket. "Somebody has been at my porridge," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And the little small wee bear looked at his, and there was a spoon in the porridge pot, but the porridge was all gone. "Somebody has been at my porridge and has eaten it all up," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Oh, head pets and hugs, cute, cute, cute. Upon this, the three bears, seeing that someone had entered their house and eaten up the little small wee bear's breakfast, began to look about them. "Somebody ate Red Bear's porridge." Oh no. They looked about them. Now the little old woman had not put the hard cushion straight when she rose from the chair of the great huge bear.
"Somebody has been sitting in my chair,"
said the great huge bear in his great gruff voice. And the little old woman had squatted down the soft cushion of the middle bear. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And you know what the little old woman had done to the third chair? "Somebody has been sitting in my chair and has sate the bottom of it out," said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. Then the three bears thought it necessary that they should make further search, so they went upstairs into their bedchamber. Now the little old woman had pulled the pillow of the great huge bear out of its place. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the great huge bear in his great gruff voice. And the little old woman had pulled the bolster of the middle bear out of its place. "Somebody has been lying in my bed," said the middle bear in his middle voice. And when the little small wee bear came to look at his bed, there was the bolster in its place, and the pillow in its place upon the bolster, and upon the pillow was the little old woman's ugly, dirty head, which was not in its place, for she had no business there. "Somebody has been lying in my bed, and here she is." And the little small wee bear said the little small wee bear in his little small wee voice. The little old woman had heard in her sleep the great gruff voice of the great huge bear, but she was so fast asleep that it was no more to her than the roaring of wind or the rumbling of a thunder. And she had heard the middle voice out of the middle bear, but it was only as if she had heard someone speaking in a dream. But when she heard the little small wee voice of the little small wee bear, it was so sharp and so shrill that it awakened her at once. Up she startled, and when she saw the three bears on one side of the bed, she tumbled herself out of the other and ran to the window. Now the window was open, because the bears, like good tidy bears as they were, always opened their bedchamber window when they got up in the morning. Out the little old woman jumped, and whether she broke her neck in the fall, or ran into the wood and was lost there, or found her way out of the wood and was taken up by the constable and sent to the house of correction, for a vagrant as she was, I cannot tell. But the 3 bears never saw anything more of her. The end. Now, I think the last time we read this, it was Goldilocks instead of the old woman, but it was pretty much the same. I don't think they had the little small wee, great huge, and great rough gruff, but yeah. But it did have the window was open and out she jumped, and whether she died or not, we don't know, who cares. But I don't think they had included, or if she was taken by the constable. So, interesting. And they definitely didn't have the cursing before. That was fun. But yeah, that is that story. The end. Story of the 3 bears. No Goldilocks needed. Writing it down so I keep track of the ones I've already read. Hi again, Millennial. Alrighty. What would the next one be? Oh, that one is long. That one will probably be a good length to start, break, and keep going, but it also might be too long. I will save it for the next stream. And that one is quite short. Do we have another short one? That is extremely short. We need yet another. Okay, those 3 will work. Alright. Okay, so I'll save that one for another time. Those 3 are the next. Alright. If you had a redeem you wanted to do, now would be a lovely time to do that. This is perfect timing. If not, I'm going to read an extremely short one. I think I might as well read that one now since nothing was redeemed. It is very short. Oh, okay. Well, go ahead and lurk. This is what I'll read next. It's called Jorinde and Joringel. I am concerned. Good night, everyone. Okay. You go ahead and sleep if that's what you're doing, or just not gonna talk for the rest. That's fine. We will talk another stream. Not me waving when you can't see me. Oh my gosh. Alright, I will read Jorinde and Joringel, and people put in your other redeems that will do. Oh, yep, there you go. Tetra did. And then I will do those right after this. Okay. That's how it's spelled. Yes. Maybe you needed to do head pat for them. Okay. Yes, that is how you spell that. Alrighty. Jorinde and Joringel. There was once upon a time a castle in the middle of a thick wood where there lived an old woman quite alone, for she was an enchantress. In the daytime she changed herself into a cat or a night owl, but in the evening she became like an ordinary woman again. She could entice animals and birds to come to her, and then she would kill and cook them. If any youth came within 100 paces of the castle, she was obliged to stand still, and could not stir from the spot till she set him free. But if a pretty girl came within this boundary, the old enchantress... Okay, so if any young man came in, but if a girl came within the boundary... Oh, sorry, a pretty girl. who cares about the ugly ones? Oh, I don't know. Um, the enchantress changed her into a bird and shut her up in a wicker cage, which she put in one of the rooms in the castle. Oh my gosh. She had quite 7,000 of such cages in the castle with very rare birds in them. 7,000 young women. Oh my. Okay. Now, there was once a maiden called Jorinde or Jorinde, I don't know, who was more beautiful than other maidens. She and a youth named Joringel, who was just as good looking as she was, were betrothed to one another. Their greatest delight was to be together. Ooh, thank you for the follow. Buffalo Ambergini? Buffalo Lamborghini. I don't know how I missed the L. Thank you for the follow. Is that one hunter friend asleep? Yes, it looks like. Sorry. You were spooked. I'm so brain-tea to know that because Pat is the thing I always type with my... Aww. There you go. It's just gotta be head pat in here. We know fairy tales don't care about the ugly girls. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's because I said that, Cage, but it's okay, yeah. He'll be back in a bit again. Okay, Radiation Bear. Okay. Alright, so they're betrothed to another there, and they were very glad to be together, and so that they might get a good long talk, they went one evening for a walk in the wood. Take care, said Joringel, not to come too close to the castle. It was a beautiful evening. So people know that if they go too close to the castle, this will happen? How did still so many people do that? Oh my god. How has no one saved them? Oh my gosh. Okay. It was a beautiful evening. The sun shone brightly between the stems of the trees among the dark green leaves of the forest, and the turtle dove sang clearly on the old may bushes. Yeah, exactly. Jorinde went from time to time, and she sat herself down in the sunshine and lamented. And Joringel, what? Now I've forgotten how I've said Joringel. That's how I said it before, right? Joringel lamented too. They felt as sad as if they had been condemned to... Wait, what? Did I miss something? Take care. Don't go too close to the castle. Everybody's singing. Jorinde wept and sat herself down in the sunshine and lamented, and Joringel lamented too. Okay. Maybe we skipped something. Maybe it's just them saying they're sad sometimes. I don't know. Oh yeah. Yeah, so one of the downsides of the fairy tales, they'd be weird. But okay. They felt as sad as if they had been condemned to die. They looked round and got quite confused and did not remember which was their way home. Okay, so they're lost. Ooh, they're lost as they're walking. The sentences could be put in a different order. Half the sun was still above the mountain and half was behind it when Joringel looked through the trees and saw the old wall of the castle quite near them. He was terrified and half dead with fright. Jorinde sang, "My little bird with throat so red, sing sorrow, sorrow, sorrow. He sings to the little dove that's dead, sing sorrow, sar, jug, jug, jug." I guess halfway through sing sorrow, 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 it becomes jug, jug, jug. Joringel looked up at Jorinde. She had changed into a nightingale who was singing jug, jug. A night owl with glowing eyes flew 3 times round her and screeched 3 times, to whit, to woo. Joringel could not stir. He stood there like a stone. Oh, the men can't move. The way that said... Oh, yeah, no, I get it. Okay, so he cannot move now. They went too close. Um, he stood like a stone. He could not weep or speak or move hand or foot. Now the sun set. The owl flew into a bush, and immediately an old bent woman came out of it. She was yellow-skinned and thin, and had large red eyes and a hooked nose, which met her chin. She muttered to herself, caught the nightingale, and carried her away in her hand. Joringel could say nothing. He could not move from the spot, and the nightingale was gone. At last the woman came back again, and said in a gruff voice, "Good evening, Zachiel. Why do you say that? When the young moon shines in the basket, you are freed early, Zachiel." Then Joringel was free. Why is he being referred to with a different name? Okay. When that happens, you're free. Then Joringel was free. He fell on his knees before the old woman and implored her to give him back his Jorinde. But she said he should never have her again, and then went away. He called after her. He wept and lamented, but all in vain. What is to become of me, he thought. Then he went away, and came at last to a strange village, where he kept sheep for a long time. He often went round the castle while he was there, but never too close. At last he dreamt one night that he had found a blood-red flower, which had in its center a beautiful large pearl. He plucked this flower and went with it to the castle, and there everything which he touched with the flower was freed from the enchantment, and he got his Jorinde back again through it. When he awoke, in the morning, he began to seek mountain and valley to find such a flower. So he's going everywhere to find it. He sought it for 8 days, and on the 9th, early in the morning, he found the blood-red flower. In its center was a large dewdrop, as big as the most lovely pearl. He traveled day and night with his flower till he arrived at the castle. When he came within 100 paces of it, he did not cease to be able to move, but he went on till he reached the gate. Huzzah! He was delighted at his success, touched the great gate with the flower, and it sprung open. He entered, passed through the courtyard, and then he stopped to listen for the singing of the birds. At last he heard it. He went in and found the hall in which was the enchantress, and with her 7,000 birds in their wicker cages. When he saw Joringel, she was furious, and breathed out poison and gall at him, but she could not move a step towards him. I'm guessing that meant the enchanter. He took no notice of her, and went and looked over the cages of birds, but there were many hundred nightingales, and how was he to find his Jorinde from among them? Whilst he was considering, he observed the old witch take up a cage secretly and go with it towards the door. Instantly he sprang after her, touched the cage with the flower, and the old woman as well. Now she could no longer work enchantments, and there stood Jorinde before him, with her arms around his neck, and more beautiful than ever. Then he turned all the other birds again into the maidens, and he went home with his Jorinde, and they lived a long and happy life. The end! Yay! Huzzah! Okay, alright. Oh, stretch, posture, and hydrate. I'll do that quickly. I'll do a step off, and and then we'll do those redeems, the sniffs and the comb twing. Okay. Ooh. Ah, why you run away, model? Alright, Radiation Bear? It's all good that you had to step out. No worries. Okay, here is a comb twingin'. I just saw my model look like she was rolling her eyes. I was just closing mine, so I don't know why she's doing that. See if she'll close her eyes again. That's better. Okay. I don't know why she's got to be so salty sometimes. Alright. Oh. Okay. Clearly she is. Alright, that's comb twinging. Sniffs. Sniffs time. Alright, it'll be glass jar taps. Alright, I have to run an ad now. Oh, noisies. So I'm going to do that before our next story. Alright, here's the ad for those of you that have to watch that. Sorry. Just putting other things back now. Alright, and we readjust. Yes, it is monies. It is monies to me. Not very much monies, but slowly monies. Don't do this. My garden being wobblies. Okay. Okay. Oh, that was my shoulder. Okay. Who heard my shoulder pop? Okay. The next story. Little One Eye, Little Two Eyes, and Little Three Eyes. What a name for a story. Oh my goodness. Pone Pop Redeem. I could do Crack My Knuckles, but it'd have to have a pretty long reset, I think. What's funny is this story doesn't have a little Four Eyes. There's no Four Eyes. No one has glasses, I guess. Alright. It is a long title. So that's how that's going to appear. Wow. It's going to fully take over. Scoop myself a little this way. Okay. More huggies for you guys. So cute. Alright. Little One Eye, Little Two Eyes, and Little Three. Oh, of course I messed that up. Of course that looks wrong. There you go. Frickin' heck. No optometrists, I guess. Sad. No, I guess not. But alrighty, here's our story. There was once a woman who had 3 daughters, of whom the eldest was called Little One-Eye, because she had only one eye in the middle of her forehead. Ayy! Cyclops. And the second, Little Two-Eyes, because she had 2 eyes like other people. And the youngest, Little Three-Eyes, because she had 3 eyes. And her third eye, weirdly, they have the bracketed her, like text speak or internet speak, like this. I'll put in chat. Her. There's still a space on either side along with the underscoring, so I don't know why that was there. She had 3 eyes, and her third eye was also in the middle of her forehead. But because Little Two-Eyes did not look any different from other children, her sisters and mothers could not bear her. The way of a middle child. But also, does the woman have 3 or 1 eyes? Why does she not like her? Oh well. They would say to her, "You with your 2 eyes are no better than common folk. You don't belong to us." They pushed her here and threw her wretched clothes there, and gave her to eat only what they left, and they were as unkind to her as ever they could be. Dang it. It happened one day that Little Two-Eyes had to go out in the fields to take care of the goat. But she was still quite hungry because her sisters had given her so little to eat. It's because the other 2 are unique, I guess. But her mom, why is mom still so? Anyway, poor girl, yes, agreed. Still quite hungry because they had given her so little to eat. So she sat down in the meadow and began to cry. And she cried so much that 2 little brooks ran out of her eyes, just like the froggy boat. Oh my goodness, it's just like it. Ray. Hi, Braddy. Hello. Where? Just came back from the beach. Ooh, nice. I'm busted. Okay. Trying to find my spot in the story again. Right. Okay. She's got 2 brooks running out of her eyes. Really sleepy. Yes. And imagine the frog emote and all of those with intense tears. There you go. But when she looked up, once in her grief, there stood a woman beside her who asked, "Little Two-Eyes, what are you crying for?" So this woman already knows the weird as heck names. What you missed, Braddy, is that it's, imagine the stepsisters and Cinderella, but Cinderella is a person, a little girl with the typical number of eyes, 2, and her stepsisters, one of them is a cyclops and the other one has the 2 eyes and a literal third eye in the middle. So they don't like her because she's normal. Mom too, but the mom's just whatever. Triclops. Yeah, sure. Okay. Anyway, somehow this old woman seems to know the name. Little Two-Eyes answered, "Have I not reason to cry? Because I have 2 eyes like other people. My sisters and my mother cannot bear me. They push me out of one corner into another and give me nothing to eat except what they leave. Today they have given me so little that I am still quite hungry." Then the wise woman said, "Little Two-Eyes, dry your eyes, and I will tell you something so that you need never be hungry again. Only say to your goat, 'Little goat, bleat, little table, appear.'" There's someone without eyes missing. Maybe the mom is blind. I don't know. Maybe she counts, but then how would she know? I don't know. And we were joking that 4 eyes isn't included, and that's where Tetra said no optometrists, I guess. Okay. So little goat, bleat, little table, appear. That's our magic words to say to our goat. and a beautifully spread table will stand before you with the most delicious food on it so that you can eat as much as you want. And when you have had enough and don't want the little table anymore, you have only to say, 'Little goat, bleat, little table, away,' and then it will vanish." Then the wise woman went away. All right, lady. I don't know why, but that came into my head as like a random person that gives you advice for when you're sad. They're like, "Oh, you just do this," but their their advice is like they don't know that they're privileged. Like, "Oh, just feel better. Oh yeah, that'll cure my depression." Imagine if that's how this worked, where she was like, "Oh yeah, just do that. I have a magic goat." You don't have a magic goat? Oh, oops. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so the wise woman went away, but Little Two Eyes thought, "I must try it once if what she has told me is true, for I am more hungry than ever." And she said, "Little goat, bleat, little table, appear." And scarcely had she uttered the words, when there stood a little table before her covered with a white cloth, on which were arranged a plate with a knife and a fork and a silver spoon, and the most beautiful dishes, which were smoking hot as if they had just come out of the kitchen. Then Little Two Eyes said the shortest grace she knew. I better hurry up, man. And she set to work and made a good dinner. Have you ever tried not being sad? If you're hungry, just go get more food. If I got a penny for every time someone has told me, just don't be sad, I would have 3 pennies. We just did. We were reading a story that was it was an odd one, but we've had this bit before in one of these stories where like one of the tasks in this fairy tale is you find a dog that's tiny enough to fit inside a walnut. And it happened again, and I was doing the if I had a nickel for every time. I only have 2 nickels, but that's still pretty wow. Still a lot. Anyway. Okay. So, and then when she had had enough, she said, as the wise woman told her, "Little goat, bleat, little table, away." And immediately the table and all that was on it disappeared again. "That is a splendid way of housekeeping," thought the Little Two Eyes. Yeah, and she was quite happy and contented. I would be too. I would wonder if you're like, you'd start to get picky. "Oh, goat, I don't want to eat any of this. I feel more like, I don't know, I feel like ramen." I don't know. In the evening, when she went home with her goat, she found a little earthenware dish with the food that her sisters had thrown to her, but she did not touch it. The next day she went out again with her goat, and left the few scraps which were given her. The first and second times her sisters did not notice this, but when it happened continually, they remarked it, and said, "Something is the matter with Little Two Eyes, for she always leaves her food now, and she used to gobble up all that was given her. She must have found other means of getting food." So in order to get at the truth, Little One Eye was told to go out with Little Two Eyes when she drove the goat to pasture, and to notice particularly when she got there and whether anyone brought her food and drink. Now when Little Two Eyes was setting out, Little One Eye came up to her and said, "I will go into the field with you and see if you take good care of the goat, and if you drive him properly to get grass." But Little Two Eyes saw what Little One Eye had in her mind, and she drove the goat into the long grass and said, "Come, Little One Eye, we will sit down here, and I will sing you something." Oh, here we go. Little One Eye sat down, and when she was very much tired by the long walk to which she was not used, and by the hot day, and as Little Two Eyes went on singing, "Little One Eye, are you awake? Little One Eye, are you asleep?" She shut her one eye and fell asleep. When Little Two Eyes saw that Little One Eye was asleep and could find out nothing, she said, "Little goat, bleat, bleat, little table, appear," and sat down at her table and ate and drank as much as she wanted. Then she said again, "Little goat, bleat, little table, away." And in the twinkling of an eye, all had vanished. twinkling of an eye. Hee hee hee. Um, Little Two Eyes then woke Little One Eye and said, "Little One Eye, you meant to watch, and instead you went to sleep. In the meantime, the goat might have run far and wide. Come, we will go home." So they went home, and Little Two Eyes again left her little dish untouched, and Little One Eye could not tell her mother why she would not eat, and said as an excuse, "I was so sleepy out of doors." The next day the mother said to Little Three Eyes, "This time you shall go with Little Two Eyes, and watch whether she eats anything out in the fields, and whether anyone brings her food and drink. For eat and drink she must secretly." So Little Three Eyes went to Little Two Eyes and said, "I will go with you and see if you take good care of the goat, and if you drive him properly to get grass." But Little Two Eyes knew what Little Three Eyes had in her mind, and she drove the goat out into the tall grass and said, "We will sit down here, Little Three Eyes, and I will sing you something." Little Three Eyes sat down. She was tired by the walk and the hot day, and Little Two Eyes sang the same little song again. "Little Three Eyes, are you awake?" But instead of singing as she ought to have done, "Little Three Eyes, are you asleep?" she sang without thinking, "Little Two Eyes, are you asleep?" "Little Three Eyes, are you awake? Little Two Eyes, are you asleep?" So that the two eyes of the Little Three Eyes fell asleep, but the third, which was not spoken to in the little rhyme, did not fall asleep. Of course, Little Three Eyes shut that eye also out of cunning, to look as if she were asleep, but it was blinking and could see everything quite well. Oh no. And when Little Two Eyes thought that Little Three Eyes was sound asleep, she said her rhyme, "Little goat bleat, little table appear," and ate and drank to her heart's content, and then made the table go away again by saying, "Little goat bleat, little table away." But Little Three Eyes had seen everything. Then Little Two Eyes came to her and woke her and said, "Well, Little Three Eyes, have you been asleep? You watch well. Come, we will go home." When they reached home, Little Two Eyes did not eat again, and Little Three Eyes said to the mother, "I know now why that proud thing eats nothing. When she says to the goat in the field, 'Little goat bleat, little table appear,' a table stands before her, spread with the best food, much better than we have. And when she has had enough, she says, 'Little goat bleat, little table away,' and everything disappears again. I saw it all exactly. She made two of my eyes go to sleep with a little rhyme, but the one in my forehead remained awake, luckily." Then the envious mother cried out, "Will you fare better than we do? You shall not have the chance to do so again." Oh no. And she fetched a knife and killed the goat. Yikes. When Little Two Eyes saw this, she went out full of grief and sat down in the meadow and wept bitter tears. Then again the wise woman stood before her and said, "Yep, little murder duck." The wise woman stood before her and said, "Oh, sorry." "Little Two Eyes, what are you crying for?" "Have I not reason to cry?" she answered. "The goat, which when I said the little rhyme spread the table so beautifully, my mother has killed, and now I must suffer hunger and want again." Radiation Bear giving hugs. The wise woman said, "Little Two Eyes, I will give you a good piece of advice. Ask your sisters to give you the heart of the dead goat, and bury it in the earth before the house door. That will bring you good luck." Then she disappeared, and Little Two Eyes went home, and said to her sisters, "Dear sisters, do give me something of my goat. I ask nothing better than its heart." What if they had given you the brain instead or something? I don't know. Then they laughed and said, "You can have that if you want nothing more." And Little Two Eyes took the heart and buried it in the evening when all was quiet, as the wise woman had told her, before the house door. The next morning, when they all awoke and came to the house door, there stood a most wonderful tree, which had leaves of silver and fruit of gold growing on it. You never saw anything more lovely and gorgeous in your life. But they did not know how the tree had grown up in the night. Only little Two Eyes knew that it sprung from the heart of the goat, for it was standing just where she had buried it in the ground. Then the mother said to little One Eye, "Climb up, my child, and break us off the fruit from the tree." Little One Eye climbed up, but just when she was going to take hold of one of the golden apples, the bough sprang out of her hands, and this happened every time, so that she could not break off a single apple, however hard she tried. Then the mother said, "Little Three Eyes, do you climb up, with your 3 eyes can see round better than little One Eye." So little One Eye slid down, and little 3 Eyes climbed up, but she was not any more successful. Look round as she might, the golden apples bent themselves back. At last the mother got impatient and climbed up herself, but she was even less successful than little One Eye and little 3 Eyes in catching hold of the fruit, and only grasped the empty air. When little Two Eyes said, "I will just try once. Perhaps I shall succeed better." "Oh, it's wonderful to give hugs, Radiation Bear. It's great. Do it lots." I will try. The sisters called out, "You with your 2 eyes will no doubt succeed." But little Two Eyes climbed up, and the golden apples did not jump away from her, but behaved quite properly, so that she could pluck them off, one after the other, and brought a whole apronful down with her. The mother took them from her, and instead of behaving better to poor little Two Eyes, as they ought to have done, they were jealous that she only could reach the fruit, and behaved still more unkindly to her. It happened one day, when they were all standing together by the tree, that a young knight came riding along. "Be quick, little Two Eyes," cried the 2 sisters. "Keep under this, so that you shall not disgrace us." Well, okay. And they put over poor little Two Eyes as quickly as possible an empty cask, which was standing close to the tree, and they pushed the golden apples which she had broken off under with her. When the knight, who was a very handsome young man, rode up, he wondered to see the marvelous tree of gold and silver, and said to the 2 sisters, "Whose is this beautiful tree? Whoever will give me a twig of it shall have whatever she wants." Then little One Eye and little 3 Eyes answered that the tree belonged to them, and that they would certainly break him off a twig. They gave themselves a great deal of trouble, but in vain. The twigs and fruit bent back every time from their hands. Then the knight said, "It is very strange that the tree should belong to you, and yet that you have not the power to break anything from it." But they would have that the tree was theirs, and while they were saying this, little Two Eyes rolled a couple of golden apples from under the cask, so that they lay at the knight's feet, for she was angry with little One Eye and little 3 Eyes for not speaking the truth. When the knight saw the apples, he was astonished, and asked where they came from. Yes, the cool down is slow to be able to get to do the next hug. Little One Eye and little 3 Eyes answered that they had another sister, but she could not be seen because she had only 2 eyes like ordinary people. "You mean like the knight? Like why are they doing that?" But the knight demanded to see her and called out, "Little 2 Eyes, come forth." Why does everyone call her that? If everyone else is normal, why? So weird. It's just so funny. Then little 2 Eyes came out from under the cask quite happily, and the knight was astonished at her great beauty, and said, "Little 2 Eyes, I am sure you can break me off a twig from the tree." "Yes," answered little 2 Eyes, "I can, for the tree is mine." So she climbed up and broke off a small branch, with its silver leaves and golden fruit, without any trouble, and gave it to the knight. Then he said, "Little 2 Eyes, what shall I give you for this?" "Ah," answered little 2 Eyes, "I suffer hunger and thirst, want and sorrow from early morning till late in the evening. If you would take me with you and free me from this, I should be happy." Then the knight lifted little 2 Eyes on his horse and took her home to his father's castle. There he gave her beautiful clothes and food and drink, and because he loved her so much, he married her, and the wedding was celebrated with great joy. When the handsome knight carried little Two Eyes away with him, the two sisters envied her good luck at first. But the wonderful tree is still with us, after all, they thought, and although we cannot break any fruit from it, everyone will stop and look at it, and will come to us and praise it. Who knows whether we may not reap a harvest from it. But the next morning the tree had flown, and their hopes with it, and when little Two Eyes looked out of her window, there it stood underneath, to her great delight. So in the new castle she's got the tree. Little Two Eyes lived happily for a long time. Once two poor women came to the castle to beg alms. Then little Two Eyes looked at them and recognized both her sisters, Little One Eye and Little Three Eyes, who had become so poor that they came to beg bread at her door. But Little Two Eyes bade them welcome, and was so good to them that they both repented from their hearts, having been so unkind to their sister. The end. Aww. Very cute. And a sweet thought to end on. And she forgave them. Not always an option, but very sweet. Okay. Yeah, we had to have cool downs for them. But yeah. Fairy tale logic. It may be whatever it is. They all refer to each other as the number of eyes on their faces, but if that's so, they kept saying that it was like normal people, which meant that it was really just one eye and three eyes that were different. If they did refer to everyone as two eyes, then everyone was two eyes. So it made no sense. It's just so nonsensical. It was cute. I'm glad it was nice. What happened to the mom? No clue. I imagine since they were begging and mom had had money to get them food first, I think mom must have passed away or lost income, assumedly. Hey, hello, Two Eyes. Hey, Two Eyes. Lovely weather today, huh? Two Eyes? Yeah. Weird freaking stories. Okay. Ooh, what a name. Does this come up a bunch? Do I have to pronounce it a bunch of times? I'm concerned I will not be able to. It is a long name. I'm not sure how I do it. The next story, I mean. I certainly wouldn't be able to pronounce it quickly. I think what must be happening is that like underscore on either side of the words must have been like how in another format they made things italicized, but it doesn't do that here. There's a bunch in this one too, so that's gonna be relevant. Oh, sticks rustle. Okay, yes. Oh, the whole time it said current trigger instead of now reading. Man, I try. It's not italicized, but it is. It's something. What was I? Sticks. There. We were thinking the same thing. Yeah. Okay. Okay, give me my sticks. Stickies. Here we go on these. And then we'll get to the story and I'll do my best to pronounce that long frickin' name. Here we go. These are popsicle sticks. Ooh. And away they go. Do we have any other? Do we have any other requests? Any other redeems before the next story? It will be the last story. So, this will be the last. This will be the last redeeming as well. Why isn't this working? I can't hear myself no more. Can I hear me now? I can. Ooh, okay, the mic arm stuffs. And brushes. Nice. Alright. Here we go. Let's see if we can't put this more. This is sounding a lot quieter than before. Hold on. Whoa, I'm rolling away. No. Had picked it up well before. some slightly weird times. I don't know what's going on. Can't hear it as well, but there you go. That was mic arm reverbing, playing with the springs on the mic arm. And I'll do the sharpening sound now. Okay. Unless I can't find the thing. Oh, good. I'm glad. It seems quiet on my end. Anyway, okay. Alrighty, how was that for sharpening sounds? And then it's just brushes before our last story. Brush, brush. But good night, Cage. Have a good sleep. Good luck with works. And anybody else that's gotta go and tap out for now. It's very fair. I don't think I'll actually finish this story in 10 minutes, but I think I'll stick around. And then we'll raid, and I'll have to raid and run, but I'll ask that you guys stick around the raid if you can. Okay. Brushes. Alright. Here we go. Brushes. Hello, Vinny Only Simps. Welcome. Right. Here we go. And that was our brushies. We have 7 minutes. Reading this story, I think, will take at least 15. I should hurry up, but Video Only Sims did also only just get here, so I guess I'll read story. But I have to do it and not get distracted. That's the rule. I always get very distracted, so I don't think I'll actually be able to do that, but I'm gonna try. Can you imagine brushing a bear? Oh my gosh. Everyone distracts streamer. No, really, because I cannot stick around. I shouldn't really be reading. Honestly, I should cut it off now so that I can get stuff done and then go to bed. But I felt like trying to read this story, so I was gonna. But, so I can't look at you, chat. I can't do it. It's illegal. We've done the distracto thing, and it's been fun. But I gotta focus. Focus. little cop badge, yes. It's okay. Do we have to? Oh, okay. If I focus, then it'll be fine. Alright. I'll do this. Yes, okay. You can see the title of it up top. And, I'm not sure. Oh, cop bear. It is a very cute emote. Dang it, already distracted. Damn it. You see the title up top. I think it is pronounced by sight. Allerleirauh. Oh my gosh. The many-furred creature. There you go. So far, yes, all of my emotes are frogs. Thank you for the follow, Video Only Sims. Thank you. But okay. Yeah, I'm not sure, and I'm a little nervous if the very long name will be in the rest of it. But here we go. There was once upon a time a king. There you go. There was once upon a time a king who had a wife with golden hair, and she was so beautiful that you couldn't find anyone like her in the world. It happened that she fell ill, and when she felt that she must soon die, she sent for the king and said, "If you want to marry after my death, make no one queen unless she is as beautiful as I am, and has just such golden hair as I have. Promise me this." After the king had promised her this, she closed her eyes and died. Well, dang, okay. Oh, thank you for the follow, fat pigs. Okay. For a long time the king was not comforted, and he did not even think of taking a second wife. At last his counselor said the king must marry again. It's in the underscore stuff, so I guess it's italicized. Must marry again, so that we may have a queen. So messengers were sent far and wide to seek for a bride equal to the late queen in beauty, but there was no one in the wide world, and if there had been, she could not have had such golden hair. Then the messengers came home again, not having been able to find a queen. Now the king had a daughter, who was just as beautiful as her dead mother, and had just such golden hair. Okay, no. Don't do that. No. Oh, no. One day when she had grown up, her father looked at her and saw that she was exactly like her mother. Said to his counselors, "I will marry my daughter to one of you." Oof, okay. "And she shall be queen, for she is exactly like her dead mother, and when I die, her husband shall be king." There you go, okay. We were very close to a big oh no. But when the princess heard of her father's decision, she was not at all pleased, oh no, and said to him, "Before I do your bidding, I must have 3 dresses, one as golden as the sun, one as silver as the moon, and one as shining as the stars. Sorry about the pause. I could see it, but you couldn't. I'm sorry. Okay. And the three dresses thing, sun, moon, stars, I know we've seen that before, but I think it was one where the girl was held in a cave. She came out. No, there was one where she showed up 3 nights in balls where she was dressed with the sun and then dressed as the moon dress and then the stars dress with a star headband. It was cute. Sorry. Besides these, I want a cloak made of 1,000 different kinds of skin. Every animal in your kingdom must give a bit of his skin to it. Ooh. But she thought to herself, this will be quite impossible, and I shall not have to marry someone I do not care for. Oh, right, I just realized one of his counselors then will be king, because she has to marry one of them. Wow, dang, okay. The king, however, was not to be turned from his purpose, and he commanded the most skilled maidens in his kingdom to weave the 3 dresses, one as golden as the sun, one as silver as the moon, and one as shining as the stars. And he gave orders to all his huntsmen to catch one of every kind of beast in the kingdom, and to get a bit of its skin to make the cloak of 1,000 pieces of fur. At last, when all was ready, the king commanded the cloak to be brought to him, and he spread it out before the princess and said, "Tomorrow shall be your wedding day." When the princess saw that there was no more hope of changing her father's resolution, she determined to flee away. In the night, when everyone else was sleeping, she got up and took 3 things from her treasures: a gold ring, a little gold spinning wheel, and a gold reel. She put the sun, moon, and star dresses in a nutshell. How do you do that? Drew on the cloak of many skins, and made her face and hands black with soot. Then she commended herself to God, and went out and traveled the whole night till she came to a large forest. Ooh, I'm getting the feeling that she is the many-furred creature, but I'm not sure. Whatever. She came to a large forest, and as she was very much tired, she sat down inside a hollow tree and fell asleep. The sun rose, and she still slept on and on, although it was nearly noon. Heckin' yeah. Now it happened that the king to whom this wood belonged was hunting in it. When his dogs came to the tree, they sniffed, and ran round and round it, barking. The king said to the huntsman, "See what sort of wild beast is in there." The huntsman went in, and then came back and said, "In the hollow tree there lies a wonderful animal that we don't know. We've never seen one like it. Ooh, thank you for the follow, Ginga89? Or it could be Jinja89, I'm not sure. There's a wonderful animal that we don't know, and we have never seen one like it. Its skin is made of 1,000 pieces of fur, but it is lying down to sleep." Haha, I knew it. The king said, "See if you can catch it alive, and then fasten it to the cart, and we will take it with us." When the huntsman seized the maiden, she awoke and was frightened, and cried out to them, "I'm a poor child, forsaken by father and mother. Take pity on me, and let me go with you." Then they said to her, "Many-furred creature, you can work in the kitchen. Come with us and sweep the ashes together." So they put her in the cart, and they went back to the palace. There they showed her a tiny room under the stairs, where no daylight came, and said to her, "Many-furred creature, you can live and sleep here." Then she was sent into the kitchen, where she carried wood and water, poked the fire, washed vegetables, plucked fowls, swept up the ashes, and did all the dirty work. So the many-furred creature lived for a long time in great poverty. Ah, beautiful king's daughter, what is going to befall you now? That's a fun sentence to throw in. It happened once when a great feast was being held in the palace that she said to the cook, "Can I go upstairs for a little bit and look on? I will stand outside the doors." The cook replied, "Yes, you can go up, but in half an hour you must be back here to sweep the ashes." Then she took her little oil lamp and went into her little room, drew off her fur cloak, and washed off the soot from her face and hands, so that her beauty shone forth, and it was as if one sunbeam after another were coming out of a dark cloud. Then she opened the hut, the nut, and took out the dress as golden as the sun. And when she had done this, she went up to the feast, and every one stepped out of her way, for nobody knew her, and they thought she must be a king's daughter. But the king came towards her and gave her his hand and danced with her, thinking to himself, "My eyes have never beheld anyone so fair." When the dance was ended, she curtsied to him, and when the king looked round, she had disappeared. No one knew whither. The guards who were standing before the palace were called and questioned, but no one had seen her. She had run to her little room and had quickly taken off her dress, made her face and hands black, put on the fur cloak, and was once more the many-furred creature. Then she came into the kitchen and was setting about her work of sweeping the ashes together. The cook said to her, "Let that wait till tomorrow, and just cook the king's soup for me. I want to have a little peep at the company upstairs, but be sure that you do not let a hair fall into it, otherwise you will get nothing to eat in the future." So the cook went away, and the many-furred creature cooked the soup for the king. She made a bread soup as well as she possibly could. And when it was done, she fetched her gold ring from her little room and laid it in the tureen in which the soup was to be served up. Why are you doing that? Why are you running from the king if you're also enticing him with a ring? What you doing? When the dance was ended, the king had his soup brought to him and ate it, and it was so good that he thought he had never tasted such soup in his life. But when he came to the bottom of the dish, he saw a gold ring lying there, and he could not imagine how it got in. Then he commanded the cook to be brought before him. The cook was terrified when he heard the command, and said to the many-furred creature, "You must have let a hair fall into the soup, and if you have, you deserve a good beating." When he came before the king asked who had cooked the soup. The cook answered, "I cooked it." But the king said, "That's not true, for it was quite different and much better soup than you have ever cooked, a roasted." Then the cook said, "I must confess, I did not cook the soup. The many-furred creature did." "Let her be brought before me," said the king. When the many-furred creature came, the king asked her who she was. "I am a poor child without a father or mother." Then he asked her, "What do you do in my palace?" "I am of no use except to have boots thrown at my head." "What the heck, girl? Don't do that. Don't say that." How did you get the ring which was in the soup?" he asked. "I know nothing at all about the ring," she answered. "Bullshit. I don't know what game you're playing, but okay." Anyway, so the king could find out nothing and was obliged to send her away. After a time there was another feast, and the many-furred creature begged the cook, as at the last one, to let her go and look on. He answered yes, but come back again in half an hour and cook the king the bread soup that he liked so much. So she ran away to her little room, washed herself quickly, took out of the nut the dress as silver as the moon, and put it on. Then she went upstairs looking just like a king's daughter, and the king came towards her, delighted to see her again, and as the dance had just begun, they danced together. But when the dance was ended, she disappeared again so quickly that the king could not see which way she went. She ran to her little room and changed herself once more into the many-furred creature, and went into the kitchen to cook the bread soup. When the cook was upstairs, she fetched the golden spinning wheel and put it in the dish, so that the soup was poured over it. Why? It was brought to the king, who ate it, and liked it as much as the last time. He had the cook sent to him, and again he had to confess that the many-furred creature had cooked the soup. "Thank you for the follow, Rumple." Like Rumpelstiltskin. Very fitting for fairy tale reads. It was the many-furred creature who cooked the soup. Then the many-furred creature came before the king, but she said again that she was of no use except to have boots thrown on her head, and that she knew nothing at all of the golden spinning wheel. When the king had a feast for the third time, things did not turn out quite the same as the other two. "Oh no, you don't say." The cook said, "You must be a witch, many-furred creature, for you always put something in the soup. so that it is much better and tastes nicer to the king than any that I cook." But because she begged hard, he let her go up for the usual time. Now she put on the dress as shining as the stars, and stepped into the hall in it. The king danced again with the beautiful maiden, and thought she had never looked so beautiful. And while she was dancing, he put a gold ring on her finger without her seeing it, and he commanded that the dance should last longer than usual. When it was finished, he wanted to keep her hands in his, but she broke from him. "Oh, you know how to cook? Witch." Oh, old stories. But she broke from him and sprang so quickly away among the people that she vanished from his sight. She ran as fast as she could to her little room under the stairs, but because she had stayed too long, beyond the half hour, she could not stop to take off the beautiful dress, but only threw the fur cloak over it, and in her haste she did not make herself quite black with the soot, one finger remaining white. The many-furred creature now ran into the kitchen, cooked the king's bread soup. When the cook had gone, she laid the gold reel in the dish. When the king found the reel at the bottom, he had the many-furred creature brought to him, and then he saw the white finger and the ring which he had put on her hand in the dance. Then he took her hand and held her tightly, and as she was trying to get away, she undid the fur cloak a little bit, and the star dress shone out. The king seized the cloak and tore it off her. Her golden hair came down, and she stood there in all her splendor and could not hide herself away any more. And when the soot and ashes had been washed from her face, she looked more beautiful than anyone in the world. But the king said, "You are my dear bride, and we will never be separated from one another." So the wedding was celebrated, and they lived happily ever after. The end. I'm just wondering, what did she think about it, since she was trying to leave? And she was still trying to leave when he caught her, so what happened? What happened? Yes. Was she more beautiful than you? I have no idea, unfortunately, Steven. But she was apparently too beautiful. Agency? What's that? Oh, fairy tales and the lack of agency for women, but oh well. It says that they lived happily ever after. I guess we gotta trust that. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I got a little bit distracted, but not terribly distracted, so that's good. I have to update. Allerleirauh. Anyway. The many-furred creature. Okay, that is the end of today's stream. Let's get that raid target. Yes, please. And then I'll drop you all off, and I'll run away like a mom at the drop-off line at school. I gotta go. Sounds like you're gonna snipe them. Yes, we got the target. I am gonna run away right after. I'm gonna bomb them with all of you. Go, go, go. Just went on BRB. Ah, darn. Oh. Thank you, Stephen. Oh my god, Stephen. Arrow sending 420. It's a fun name. But thanks for sending that gift out. We have to drop some raid. Yeah, there you go. Heading to bed. Oh, good night, Millennial. Okay. Thanks for the story. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys for dropping. Thank you, Radiation Bear, for dropping the frogs. Cause yes, we had another gift. We dropped the frogs for the gift. Okay, copy raid message, please. Stop moving. I have to copy. Okay, I think I've done that. And now I raid to Birdie Boba. Right, that is the. Where'd he go? Birdie Boba. Wow, they have a lot of people. Oh my goodness. I feel like we won't be impressive enough. They're in the middle of an ad. But it says it's only a few seconds away, so I think this will be... Oh no, wait. They might be in a break. Oh no, they're coming back. Okay, here we go. All numbers are numbers, Raven. It's true. Thank you for the stream, everyone. Oh, I accidentally put stars in my eyes. I don't know when I did that. But thank you for joining me. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next stream. I'll be doing tomorrow's night stream, but not the origami stream, unfortunately. So I will drop and I will run away. Okay. Yeah, it looks like they're still away, but I'm still gonna just drop you in. Alrighty. Good night, everybody. Sleep well. Away we go. Away we go. And now we are in that rating. Okay. Good night.